Hi, this is Christian Vance, and in this tech tip, we're going to have a look at chopping up, slicing up the drum sample and using the MIDI to slice function that Ableton has, which can really open up endless possibilities on ways to chop up any sample. We're going to be looking at drums today, but this can be used on anything. Voice comes to mind. You can really do some crazy stuff with vocal slicing here. But basically what it does is we're going to have a look at our sample here. We've got a drum loop B we're using here. And what we're going to do is have a look at adding some warp markers here so that we can slice it to MIDI, because if we right click this, we see slice to new MIDI track. And what it basically does is take the warp markers and use those warp markers as particular slices and slice up the whole pattern into individual parts that you can use accordingly. One tip is, the most important one, you're going to have to create some warp markers, because when you go here and you slice to MIDI, you can create one slice per transient, per bar, half note, quarter note. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I would recommend, if you really want to get into the whole beat science thing and you want to really chop your stuff up and have a very good sort of functional source material for yourself and use it as a really precise tool, you go in and make your own warp markers. And that means really, let's just cancel this quickly, really going in and having a look at where the start of the beat is. And also your waveform there. What you want to have is something from the start here, or either here. We can go right in. There's plenty of things we can make it look very big like this, of course. I would really recommend taking the time. This is the thing, people don't take the time to go in and warp things accurately. I mean, there is no right and wrong, but you really want to catch that peak. You really want to get it so that when you slice it to MIDI, each part of this drum loop is chopped up into individual parts. That's what slice to MIDI does. In this is just, all I've done is copied this drum loop down here, and we've added some of those markers. And as you can see, they're sitting not exactly where the beat is hitting in the sample. The sample is not exact. The sample has its own groove, but we want to pick out those transient bits there. So drum, snare, hi-hats. You can go in and choose even the smaller parts of the rhythm if you want to really, really chop it up. But do remember that the more warp markers you have, the more slices you're going to have to MIDI. So we just have to do this, and we click slice to new MIDI track. Create one slice per warp marker, which we have all the warp markers here, and a slicing preset. So you're going to have built in, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can choose. What I've done is created a couple of templates of my own, a couple of defaults. There are two ways that you can do this. One is to use one of the built-in ones and to save it. The other way that you can do it is you can create a new track here, for example, MIDI track, and you can put a drum rack on here, and you can load the simpler, or I guess you can load the sampler. We're just using standard here, but with Suite you can load in the sampler, and you just load it in like this, and you save it in here. So there's slicing defaults. If you have a look here, is user library. There's slicing defaults. I'm just going to get rid of this channel for the moment. Slicing defaults. These are mine. I did a test slice rack ages ago because, yeah, I mean, I had to get my head around it as well. It's like, where do I save my own templates for this MIDI slicing stuff? But yeah, it exists. It's under defaults here, user library defaults slicing. You can create your own templates, whether you want to use 16ths, warp markers. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but basically by changing the initial one, the one that they give you, you have all this stuff over here when you do slice to MIDI. So if you have a look here, Slice to new MIDI track. Let's use the built-in one for the moment. And as you can see, I've got this to pop up here. And it gives you attack, decay, sustain, release, start, offset, loop length, a whole bunch of stuff. You may or may not want to use that. It's really not worth going too depth into it. Obviously, most of this stuff speaks for itself. If we go in and have a look here, all the slices are here. And this is the most important part. These are all the slices here. So let's go to the one that I've done earlier with one of my own presets, which is just a modification on the existing Ableton preset, by the way, which is here. And we have our slices. What I've also done, because it's in a typical rack here, you can add a few effects as well. And we'll get into that in a bit. Let's have a look at this drum sample here. Let's just drag these down. Have a look here. And very simply, all that's done is create one slice here, two slice there, 3, 4, and so on. And it's created this lovely progression for us of that drum loop. Here's the trick, and this is the thing that I love doing. You can obviously assign all these slices to an MPC style controller, any kind of MIDI drum pad. You can even assign each of these slices to a key on a MIDI keyboard. And you can jam, and you can have some fun with your beats, and you can imagine your Jay Dilla for the evening. The other thing you can do is go in here, and what we've done is moved the slices around. So if we go back in here, it's just a progression of 1 through to 24 slices. On this one, we've gone and made a random one. You can drag these slices around. You can shorten them. You can lengthen the ones. So here's one trick. The lengthy ones, so the ones that you can see up here that are a little bit longer, they're containing more information, longer information, obviously, more time, and these are the shorter ones. So it's good to keep the slices the same length if you want to keep the original timing, feel, and length of those slices. Or you can just really go to town and create random stuff. But let's listen to the original. And let's have a listen to this modified version. And as you can see, or hear, I should say, that's a really, really different take on the original pattern. It's got some choppy bits, changey bits, bits you weren't expecting, and it takes, even though it's obviously still sounding like the original drum sample, it creates out of something human, something a little bit beyond human, a little bit different. You can tell inherently that it's not drummed live in a sense. You've really gone and changed bits and pieces. So yeah, that's one exciting thing that you can do with Slice to MIDI. And with this preset I've done by adding a few different bits and pieces like effects over here. What you can do is add some, what do we got? Got some reverb, got some ping pong delay, got some overdrive. So let's say you like a bit of reverb on this, you want some this here, a bit this, a bit this. And we can go through and put some different effects. You can do crazy stuff, phases, flanges, different delays, and obviously it's going to add some interest. The other thing you can do is if you're using a mono sample, you can obviously pan these. You can do some really interesting right and left stuff with these drums. And there you have it, some MIDI slicing.
Thanks everybody for watching, commenting and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content, and if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.